you're going to rerun Theater Mechanicus this fucking often, which, by the way, is a lot, okay? We're running this event a lot. Why don't we just keep it in the game?
Huh?
And then make the new events when you update Theater Mechanicus. That way people can enjoy it, and when there's new things, it can be a celebration.
You know, it's crazy because I talked about this a long time ago, and it's funny to me that Tectone talked about this, so I have to talk about this once again. But let me ask you guys a question. Can these events like Theater Mechanicus, the hide and seek event that we have, the Labyrinth Warriors, and then that one that we have where we have to go against many waves of enemies, work as a permanent thing of Genshin Impact? Let me know what you think about that. Let me know if you disagree or agree in the comments, and I'm gonna read them. I want to see what you guys say, but I'm gonna tell you why this can work. Also give a reason how it can work. What are probably the only upsides to it, because I don't think there are that many downsides. So go ahead and buckle right in. I'm gonna go ahead and hop right in onto this. Yeah, so this has been something on my mind for a hot long time now, and what sparked the idea was what Tectone said. Because of the fact that we're running Theater Mechanicus so many times, why not just keep it as a permanent thing? And because we have Theater Mechanicus that we're running, we have the reruns of like other things, like we had that one Iki event that happened where we had to go against the wave of enemies. We literally have one in the chasm that's going on right now that's similar to it. We got, well, right now we got a pot making event, so we have that. But then we literally had a domain that's literally create your own domain, and that was perfect permanent content, which is crazy that it was only for an event. So where's the problem in all this? Well, all of this is the problem. Genshin's biggest problem is that we have all these things that are being here, but it's not being ran, and some of it is not even permanent, but it's just being reran like multiple times. So where is the solution to this? The solution is the domains. So you guys know we have our artifact domain, we have our weapon domain, we have our talent domain, and then we just have those random domains that we only do one time, and you guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, pull up Genshin on your map and look through. We have some domains we don't even go to. You go to them one time, you grab your 40 primos, you probably your Mora or your character XP or whatever else you need, and you dip. And the fact that these areas have well-developed maps, some of them look really good just for a one-time thing. Like one of them is literally a whole arena looking area, and you just don't go there ever again. You go there one time, you do what you gotta do, and then you dip. You grab your precious chest and you're gone. You don't ever touch it ever again. And I feel like that is missed opportunity, at least right there. Because where the problem begins is there is 12 of these total. 12. And only one of them is being used, and that is in Mondstadt, and I think it's the one closest to Mondstadt, and is actually being used as a tutorial base, and that's it for like reactions, and I think it's probably closest, I'm not sure, but it's only being used for reaction tutorials, and that's it. And that's the problem. You have 12 total, but you're only using one, so 11 of them is just sitting there. And I know that doesn't sound like too much of a problem, but when you have 3 in Mondstadt, 3 in Liyue, and 5 in Inazuma, and not to mention that every region is going to have one, these are going to stack over time. And so you see what I'm going with this. We're just going to have useless domains just sitting here being not used. So why do minigames need to be in Genshin? The reasons minigames need to be in Genshin are actually a few reasons, and I have my notes on the side to keep me up. But for one, it makes use of the content already in the game. Like we have these domains literally in here from when we get new region updates. Or new maps, because literally we got one with, what, Sarumi Island, I'm pretty sure. So we literally get them, so just make them different. So it's already making use of what's already in the game of the storage already. It provides players something to do outside of the classic dailies, outside of doing your resin burn, outside of like events and everything. So it gives players like a little something to do on the side if they don't want to do the classic stuff. Because I do know there are some people who probably want to play Genshin more than just the classic 15-20 minutes that they're given. And it will also help streamers on a lot of departments too. So that's another thing. Another thing is when we have those dead patches or those filler patches and we just don't have much and it's just a new character, it will give players something to do on the side that they can kind of have as entertainment that can hold them during the sake of those 4 weeks that we have, 4 to 8 weeks, no, 4 to 6 weeks that we have per patch, that will allow them to at least have a little something to get them going. It will also fulfill a lot of the RPG aspects, because let's be honest, Genshin has a lot of RPG aspects that is not being used one bit. It is not being used at all, and it would actually make use of it. And that is probably the biggest thing about it, because that's at least what I care about, is the RPG aspects. Another thing is, this is more for a personal preference, but for content creators, it will give us more stuff to do content-wise in terms of Genshin. We won't have to just do, and I'm gonna be honest, if I see like, I think the most saturated thing I'm seeing in Genshin right now is like if I do something I roll. No shade to any content creators, but I'm just saying that's like the main thing I'm seeing. But like, it will give us something else to do, because I think the coolest thing when I was seeing was when we had that create your own domain. That was really cool to see the amount of different types of content that was being done. And so it will provide content creators something different to do. And another thing is it will actually put a use to us testing the limits of our accounts. We got people who have C6 characters and we're doing all these artifacts and all these weapons and everything. We can actually put use to them if we have something to at least test it in terms of like kinda in-game content, but not entirely in-game content. So it'll give us a reason to make use of all the stuff that we're doing with our accounts. Because right now, the only hard content is Spiral Abyss, but some people are even clapping Spiral Abyss even without a lot of stuff. So we kind of need something else to test the limits without having to just trust Spiral Abyss all the time. So you're probably thinking right now, so this all sounds pretty interesting so far, so how would rewards work in this department? Here's the funny part, there are none. That's literally what I'm thinking should be the case. There should be no rewards in terms of mini games, because they're supposed to be for fun. They're supposed to be something you can just do to actually just relax, chill, play with friends, whatever. It's not supposed to be something that you can just grind out. I mean, if you want to, you can, but that's up to Mahoya themselves if they want to. What I thought was they can do Mora and XP books as like your classic thing, like purple, blues, and all that, and just as like a default thing just for doing it. That way you can at least kind of get it, so I know people can, that way it kind of works. So for people who don't have resin, they can kind of still farm if they want to, but then it also just gives you, because you don't really get really too much just for getting Mora and XP. It does help, but doesn't give like too much of an advantage just for playing mini games. Now, if they want, I said they can do Adventure XP, there's Companion XP that they can do if they want to. That's not really a big thing that I'll say needs to be added, because everything else in the game gives you that, so there's no point in making it for the mini games, but it depends on it's the incentive. Artifacts, I'm gonna be personally honest, I really don't want artifacts if they do this, because artifacts, you already get artifacts from every single domain. You already get artifacts from the enemy. Sometimes if you, depending on how much, depending on like how rare it is, you can get an artifact from the enemies. There's artifact routes. There's like, artifacts are literally everywhere. So I really feel like this should be the one thing that shouldn't have artifacts. But if it has it, that's not really a big deal. I mean, I'm comparing this to like Destiny, how Crucible literally had PvP and you can get like literally everything, and you can literally get like an exotic weapon, which would be comparison to a 5-star in terms of Genshin. So it really wouldn't matter to me, but I feel like Mora and XP should be like the lowest of the low, and then anything else, it just doesn't really matter. But if they do add anything else, they should definitely cost resin. So if you do want an artifact, if you do want to use XP, if you do want some if you do want XP, that should cost you resin. But on the default, it should be the Mora and XP books. That shouldn't cost resin, but everything else should, if you just want to get that through it. But outside of that, the reward should be simple. It shouldn't be nothing too crazy. So, I've been talking about what they can do, what can be added, what the reasons could be, why it could be, but I didn't say what type of mini games yet, and that's probably the biggest thing that's lurking on this. So what type of mini games are we talking here? Theater Mechanicus for starters, because it's being rerun like 8 billion times, so why not? The hide and seek event, I don't see why not, to be personally honest, to do the hide and seek event. I feel like the hide and seek event would be perfect, just like randomized out of the maps that are already available. And then the like a time trial type of event would be kind of cool, kind of like how we have the ones where right now you gotta like follow the things, or you have to kill enemies within a certain amount of time. Those would be kind of cool. In terms of like just doing that, I feel like that would be sick. Wave battles, personal preference here, but I feel like wave battles would be sick. You set how many waves you want from 1 to 100, I'm just saying, and then you just keep going. You put the effects on. You want corrosion, you want like corrosion, health drops, like certain things, and you just keep going until you finish or until you die, either one. And then there can actually be a leaderboard either on Hoyo Lab or whatever that you can actually keep track, and that way it kind of has a little bit of a PvP aspect to it. Now of course the collection will be C6 and all that stuff. I feel like in terms of that, there should be constellation based. Like it really shouldn't be anything like if you're a C6, if you use C6 characters, then maybe it'll be this leaderboard, or you can like, check things like, are you using C6 stuff already? I don't know how that would work personally, because I already do know that would be kind of weird. You can't compare someone who has C0 characters to a C6 person, so I don't know how that department would work. But I think that would be kind of sick. Puzzle domains would be sick for people who like to just like really like want to think about like some puzzles and like really figure out the way to get through things. I think that would be kind of cool. You already know we gotta do the create your domain. It was already a thing, might as well put it in the game. Like that's gonna be a permanent thing already. Boat racing, we have boats, and we had that one thing during Lantern Rite where you actually raced in like the thing, but you didn't do it in co-op, which was the problem here. And all these have to be co-opable. I don't care what no one says, all these should have the option to be co-opable. They're not, they shouldn't have the ability to be just solo play. They have to have availability in co-op, because let's be honest here, co-op is dry. Co-op is dry. It is completely 100% dry. You can hear the crickets. It's dry. It is dry right now. Cannon battles. Now this is a different one, and I just figured this one out yesterday because me and my friend were playing yesterday, and I'll show a clip hopefully on the screen where you can actually kill someone with the cannons. And if they do a cannon like battle, I'm thinking maybe on some like you just like do cannon wars, you know, you shoot one and like you have to like hit each other from afar, or you have something you have to protect and you have to like kind of like destroy it or something like that. I don't know how it would work, but I feel like cannon battles would be a thing, and that'd be kind of sick. Another thing, I'm looking through my notes right now, is archery battles. Now you guys, if you haven't done your Inazuma domains, you probably haven't done that one where you have to like shoot between, what is it, Kokomi's army and Kujo-Sara's army. You have to kind of shoot Kujo's army and not Kokomi's. I don't know, I forgot the name of the name specifically, but you have to hit specific ones. And so I'm thinking you do that, it's kind of like target practice against someone in co-op, and you just go into a certain time goes out, and then whoever wins type of ordeal, kind of like a PvP. So more PvP. I'm thinking like PvP can work, but you just gotta do it in a way that it won't be too overpowered depending on the amount of money you spend in Genshin. Because let's be honest, that's going to play an impact into it. But then again, archery would be debatable because then you have to think about Ganyu. You know, that's a different story. So with all this news that I'm giving you guys, the main question is, why do I think Genshin could have minigames? Well, Genshin can have minigames for a lot of reasons. And for one, it will just give players a lot of things to do. That is like the main thing. I do know there are people who love to play Genshin for a long period of time. It's probably their main game. So it would give players at least a thing to do on the side. And I'm going to go ahead and it would give players things to do, and it would also allow players to pretty much have things to do on a longer pace of time, because I do know there's players out there who want to play longer, and then there's streamers out there who want to do things, so it will give them, at least long-term wise, something to do outside of the norm. For Genshin is the gacha game, but there's also RPG aspects and other things that Genshin has the ability to do because it's on multiple platforms, that it can do more than an average gacha. So the fact that if it stays within the gacha elements, yes, it can stay and succeed like it is now, but I feel like they could at least try things in other categories and at least like keep them, because yes, I will say there is more to Genshin outside of what it already has, but there has to be something that it can do that will improve it. I don't feel like Genshin should be restricted to just the gacha size, but I do know the reason why it's restricted, and that is actually one of the things I'm gonna elaborate in a second. So we all know that Genshin is mainly played on mobile. We do know that Genshin has a huge mobile play base in terms of how it's played. It's mainly played on mobile compared to everything else. But I didn't elaborate this on the previous one, but having mini games would actually help Genshin more than just asking for more resin, because it would actually provide the same amount of stuff within while not changing a lot. So that's probably like the bigger thing in terms of like why it would work in terms of Genshin and why it's needed more. But of course, when it comes to mobile is definitely the biggest thing that, of course, everything is played around and actually moved around by. So how does this affect mobile? Well, mobile probably shouldn't be affected at least too much, because let's be honest, we're on like the 3rd region of Inazuma and we still have what, 4 other regions to go to. So if mobile's not already on life support already, I'm not sure how this would affect them too much, because A, it's already in the game, and B, I don't think it would make too much of a increase in terms of their space. In terms of their space, it should only increase it by maybe 2 to 3 more gigs, if not 2 to 3, maybe 3 to 4. And at the lowest, probably a couple of megabytes, if we're being completely honest, because it's already in the game, you're just kind of adding something. But it should be close to kind of like adding a new version. And I'm gonna be honest with you, they can literally take a whole update, like let's say 2.8 for example, and make it just implementing these changes into those trounce domains, and I will be okay with that. I'm gonna be honest. So that's pretty much the main thing. I don't think mobile will be affected too much, because I don't play on mobile. I'm gonna say that right now, I don't play on mobile, but if someone does play on mobile, then let me know how it is, and if you think this would change too much, and kind of just let me know, because I'm not sure, and then I'll pin in the comments so other people can see it. We've talked about a lot so far in this video, from how mini games can be added to Genshin's biggest issue, to what could be incorporated, how it could be incorporated, to how it affects mobile, to the type of mini games. We talked about a lot, and there's just a lot that I want to see Genshin to succeed on, and a lot of changes that I want to see happen in Genshin, because let's be honest here, Genshin's a gacha game, but it has a lot of RPG elements that can work. And for me personally, co-op is probably the most entertaining thing for me, so to actually have something that will be in co-op would definitely be one of the best things I would like to see in terms of Genshin. And so it would just really provide more, I guess, from a co-op standpoint, because everyone likes co-op and meeting people, because I love meeting the Genshin community, and I know there's other people out there who probably do too. But right now there's nothing really going on, and there's nothing outside of dailies and your classic resin burning and your classic 15-20 minutes of gameplay that you can do in Genshin, especially if you want to play more. Now when it comes to Genshin, I know I could always just say, oh, just add this and call it a day, but I wanted to provide some information on how it can work, what can work, how it will affect, and what it can affect. I don't know a lot of cons, because again, a lot of the cons really go to mobile, and I don't have that information, so I'm hoping that someone that plays mobile can give me that information, and I'll pin it as a top comment, because I don't know anyone who plays on mobile either, which also makes it kind of hard to actually get that information. But that is another thing. And the last thing in terms of why I want to see this is because Genshin has so many things that those one-time domains has, and they look so good for only a one-time play. So it's just weird that we're having this area being used for a one-time thing, and that was kind of the same thing I felt with the Golden Apple Archipelago when that left. So it's just kind of the same thing, but I feel like this one could at least be more of a permanent thing, because in the end of the day, we can all agree to an extent that characters are not content. They're great for the first couple of weeks, but they're not like permanent content that will really provide us with long-term longevity to something that actually entertain us in Genshin. We enjoy the game and we all want more for the game, so to actually have more that's not just characters will be pretty nice. But that's pretty much it for this video. This is probably the first time I've ever done a video like this, so let me know what you guys think, and if you guys would like to see what other players think when it comes to playing Genshin, then this video I did on the side where I actually joined random people in co-op and asked them what they would add in Genshin was actually pretty interesting. I got to see what people would add in Genshin and everything, and that was a pretty nice video. So if you guys want to see what other players think, then you can check that out and see what it is. But that's pretty much gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. My name's Elenix, and if you guys would like to see more things, then that big red subscribe button is right there, and I will see you kings and queens on the next one.